let's just dive right into the fighting side of things. So how did you get introduced to combat sports in general? Was it grappling first? Was it striking first? And then kind of what was the progression to full MMA?
Yeah, well, like for martial arts, I started like when I was a little kid. I did like karate and stuff like that. My style of karate was not super like realistic for fighting, but it was like good. It taught me a lot of good stuff, but kind of sparked everything. So when I was like 8, I started doing karate. Did that, or I guess I was like 4. I did it till I was 8, and then sorry, my dog's right there. And then I took a little bit of a break. I started boxing again, actually, when I was like 12. And so that was what got me right back into it. And then I started joining a gym that also did jiu-jitsu. So I started doing jiu-jitsu when I was 14. And then since then, I just like fell in love with jiu-jitsu. I love boxing too, but just fell in love with jiu-jitsu. And then did a bunch of tournaments and then ended up starting full-on MMA. Like I started fighting when I was like right before I turned 17. I had my first MMA fight. And then that was it from there. And then I just like went all in with MMA. Turned pro at 19, got on the Ultimate Fighter, went right at the end of being 21, turned 22 on the show, and then now we're in the UFC.
Yeah, that's wild, man. What was it that got you into karate first, and then boxing and jiu-jitsu? Was it like why were you interested in those sports rather than like soccer or basketball? Like was it the action of it, or were your parents into it, or kind of what got you started?
With the karate, sorry, you cut out a little bit.
Yeah, with the karate, it's just martial arts in general. Why martial arts rather than like ball sports or something like that? Like what drew you in that direction? Was it parental influence, or was it just what you were personally interested in?
Well, when I was little, I was so young that I think they just put it in. My parents put me into it for like discipline reasons. Like I didn't really have a say. I was like 4 years old, but I did have a say. I decided to do the boxing lessons, and I think it was more because, actually, my mom was doing private boxing lessons, and that's actually what got me into it. But I've always loved the combat side of things. Like, I feel like I didn't really do a lot of school sports, and they didn't really interest me as much. I didn't want to be a part of a team. I wanted to go and compete on my own terms, if that makes sense. And so I think that's why I really got into, like, the martial arts.
All right, and so then where in your mind, where are you at in your UFC career? Obviously, you're going for legacy at the end, like you just mentioned, but like, what does it take to get to where you're at? And then what do you think the steps are to get from where you're at to where you need to go? Like, I guess from a process level, like not so much like what accomplishments do you need to get, but like how have your routines shifted over time? How has your mindset shifted over time? And then what do you think you'll have to continue to improve on to get to that next level?
Yeah, like I feel like since Ultimate Fighter, I've won 2 fights. I'm in a good spot that way, but I think I still have a lot to prove. I think the Brady that's shown up in my last 2 fights, obviously I've won, which is the main goal, but I feel like I haven't showcased who I can be and like what I am capable of. And so I think leading forward, I need to go out there and just be myself and then perform the way I know I can perform, because I know I can go out and put on like show-stopping performances and finish these top-level dudes. And so I just need to go out there and do that. I think I need to go out there 2 more fights to start getting into these rankings, but they got to be good fights, and I know that. And they got to be like exciting. They got to be going out there like making people stop me, like, who the fuck's that guy? Because I feel like I had a good performance on the Ultimate Fighter. All the way to the finale, lost by split, but I feel like I have a lot more to show.
Do you consider yourself like an athlete, an artist, an entertainer, like, or is it all of the above? But like, I guess what do you identify with as?
I guess as fighters, we're all the above. That's the cool part about the sport too. It's not we're not just the athletes. We're not just the entertainers. We're a mix of everything. So I think that's the cool part about it.
Yeah, it's the reason I asked that is you kind of seem to be touching on all those things. Like you want to showcase your abilities, like the skills that you've developed. I'd say that's kind of the art side. You want to put on show-stopping performances, entertainment, and then you want to grind. That's the athlete. That's cool. So if all goes well in 5 years, 10 years? Where are you from now?
I want to be retired by the time I'm 35, so I got 10 years left. With a bunch
Why
of
35? That's interesting. Why 35?
I don't know. It's a goal I just set for myself. I don't really want to be around too long. I think 10 more years is still a lot of time. I want to do a lot of other stuff in my life. I want to be financially free. I want to have a bunch of houses. I want to be doing just whatever I want. When I turn 35, hopefully before, I just want to be able to do whatever the fuck I want when I want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that be I go open other businesses or do whatever, I just want to be so unworried about money and my, making sure I didn't leave anything unturned in the sport. Obviously, I want to get those belts, collect a few of them. And then when I'm 35, I want to get out and just do whatever I want with myself.
Yeah, so freedom.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Interesting. And then is there a reason you chose 35 specifically? Is that something you've seen, or is that just sort of, did you make that goal when you were 20 and you're like, I want to do this for 15 years? Or were you sort of like, I see people who are 35 and they've been doing it too long. Like, how'd you arrive at that number?
I honestly don't know. I think it just popped in my head one day, but I do see, like, especially in my, like, the lower weights where I'm at, it's like, once you get over that, like, threshold, you're starting to, like, lose speed, and these guys are, like, coming up are savages. So you got to be on your toes. And so I just don't want to be around for when my body starts to go. I want to go out on my own terms, I want to be like, nah, we're good. And then also, I don't want any brain damage. I don't want to, like, be in the sport too long and then have a bunch of, like CTE or whatever. I want to get in and get out unscathed, not take the damage. Even though we're going to take damage either way, we're fighting. But I don't want to be leaving, like, not able to talk, not able to do a lot of stuff. And then I feel like 35 is a good amount of time. Like I said, that's 10 more years. That's a lot of time in the sport.
Yeah.
I feel like that's plenty of time to do everything.
Yeah. Sweet. And then what would you potentially go for earlier? Like, let's say if you're 30 and you've hit your goals, would you get out, or would you want to see it through to the end of the span that you set?
I mean, if I've done everything I want to do, I'll be done whenever. If I do everything that I would want to do, there's nothing else to do. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, if I could accomplish that in the next 5 years, even better.
Super cool. All right, let's shift gears a little bit to your training, and I'm specifically interested in your strength and conditioning, so your non-skill work training. So you've got a fight coming up. It's in June, right?
June 15th.
June 15th. Do you know how many weeks out we are from that right now? I don't know.
Saturday will be 6 weeks.
6 weeks. And so can you take me through your training camp a little bit? And I'm mostly interested in, like, I'd say the percent intensity, right? So out of 100% intensity, like, do you start the camp at 100%, go 100% for the whole time? How long is the whole camp? Or if you do taper up and down with the intensity, what kind of, is it first month is heavy, second month is medium, third month is light? Or just how does that work?
I don't really go like that. I think I just start ramping it up and see what my body can take. Okay. I'm a goer, so I feel like my best weapon in my fights is my conditioning, and so I think I push that in the gym all the time. And I think I just go based on how my body feels in the training sessions. Like, I have things that I always do. Like, I always have strength conditioning 3 days a week. And then I always go to MMA every night, 5 days a week, and then I throw in jiu-jitsu throughout the week, and then run 3 days a week. So I'm doing a lot, at least 2-3 sessions a day. From the beginning of camp, and even outside camp, I'm always training. Mm-hmm. I never get out of shape. And so I'm just ramping it up, getting more and more intense as my body can take it. For the strength conditioning, I do that 3 days a week, like I was saying. Since I'm kind of a big bantamweight and I have a lot of muscle, we're not trying to do a lot of, like, muscle weight gain just because I don't need it. Like, my body doesn't need that. So once a week we do more of a cardio session where it's, like, long duration of, like, a lot of, like, HIIT workouts and stuff like that. So it's like 10-second sprints on the treadmill, 10-second sprint on the air bike, 30-second, like, battle ropes, and do that 5 rounds, take a rest, and do that 5 times. So that's, like, my Wednesday midday. And then, so the other days I'll do, like, lifting. But it's all, like, functional lifting. So it's like whether it's be like, like explosive landmine throw or like explosive bench or like heavy bench to banded bench to jumping push-ups. It's a lot of like explosive stuff. Like he divides it into like 3 sections. So there's like the strength, or I think it's like there's the strength. So you got to build your strength if you don't have the strength, and then you build the speed, and then you combine them together, and that's the power, right? And so he, like, depending on where I'm at, what I need, we do a lot of testing at the PI, seeing what I'm deficient in, and that's where we go. So it's all, like, tailor-made to me, thankfully, with my boy, Dylan Lemry, and the guys down at the PI with Becky. They see where I'm deficient, and we make a plan based on that.
Nice. Can you just give me a quick background? Can you repeat that name? Who was your coach's name, the strength coach?
His name's Dylan Lemry, but he has an Instagram. It's called DL Training.
Okay, DL Training. I'll check him out, and I'll include a link in the description.
Go follow him and message him. He doesn't have a huge following right now, but he's definitely like on the come up. So message him. He's like a genius. He's a doctor in physical therapy, and he's a D1 wrestler, and so he's been training me and Mike Hiestand for the last however long. So he knows what he's talking about. So he's the guy. If you're looking to get into strength conditioning, he's the guy you need to talk to.
Yeah, I will talk to him for sure. So I appreciate that. And then you're talking about the PI that's in Vegas. Are you based in Vegas these days?
No, after the Ultimate Fighter, I bought my first home up here in Spokane, Washington.
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, and I converted it to a duplex, so it's like a apartment upstairs and an apartment downstairs, and I live upstairs, rent the downstairs to a couple teammates, live up here with my girlfriend, and then our new puppy Frank. And so that's where I'm at right now, and then so that's where Dylan lives, that's where my team lives, and so yeah, I like it up here.
Yeah. And then I guess just the PI's in Vegas, right? So how do you go to Vegas and do stuff there, or how do you balance your life between? I know there's a lot of UFC stuff going on in Vegas. So how do you go there for camps, or do you go there to check in every once in a while? How does that work?
Yeah, I go in there often because obviously I like going down there and training with some good guys like Merab Dwalishvili. I've trained with Aljamain Sterling down there, so there's a lot of good guys that I love to go train with down there. On top of it, yeah, I go to the PI a lot for like testing and nutrition and stuff like that.
Interesting. And then real quick on the nutrition, what role does the UFC play? How do you manage your nutrition?
They just give me they help a lot with like meals. Like there's this company we work with called Icon Meals. They help a lot, making sure I'm eating the right stuff, getting calories in. They help me with supplements, making sure I'm taking the right supplement. Before I got in the UFC, I didn't even know like what supplements to take. I would just shoot in the dark, and so they've helped me a lot taking the right supplements. And then,
what supplements do you take?
Creatine, beta-alanine, like a multivitamin, fish oil, vitamin D, and then like turmeric.
Cool. I like that simple stuff. But you mentioned Aljamain Sterling, Merab Dvalishvili. I'm curious what fighters you like to watch, like for inspiration or either present or past. Do you try to emulate other people, or do you just kind of try to do your own thing?
I definitely watch all the other fighters, like especially guys that are like similar to mine, and I think like the fact that I grapple a lot is like good for like watching like Merab and then Aljamain. So like I have a very similar style to them, so I like watching their fights. Plus, now that I train with them, I kind of like got the connection with them. Like I want to see my buddies do well. But I definitely watch them. I watch a lot of like older fighters like Dominic Cruz and TJ Dillashaw and stuff like that. Always trying to like pick up and see what I can do better or similar to them.
Do you have access to film like beyond the UFC Fight Pass stuff? Like, do they give you stuff? I've always been curious about that.
No, unfortunately they don't. But I mean, there's so much film out there now. Like the day and age we're in, you literally see anything.
Yeah, that was just kind of a side thing. Sean O'Malley's the current bantamweight champ. How do you think you'd stack up with him? What would be your approach in that matchup?
It's definitely a tough fight, but I think I would have to mix in the wrestling, obviously. But I think doing that, I could beat him, honestly. I'm pretty good at going in. Like, I train with a lot of long guys, like Ashton Charlton. He's one of my buddies. He fights at 170, and we train a lot. So I feel like I'm used to rangy, long guys. And so it wouldn't be the weirdest thing for me to fight him. But I feel like I could sub him, honestly.
That'd be cool. That'd be a fun matchup to watch, honestly. Cool. And then I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you're doing multiple training times a day, but yeah, I guess is like yeah, well, real quick on your next fight, do you have a game plan for that? And I've actually, one thing I forgot to ask about, was been curious about, is like, do you make a game plan on a per fighter basis, or do you just like go in with, I'm going to try to appeal to my strengths? Like, how much does your game plan change from fight to fight based on the different fighters, or does a lot of it stay the same?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely changes based on the fighter. It's like, if I'm going to go fight a power puncher, I'm not going to go in there with, like, you know, being willing to, like, being able to get hit. Or if I'm going to go in there against a guy that likes to take me down, I welcome that because I like grappling. And I feel like my scrambles are like the best. But, like, you just got to be aware, and you got to pick your partners that you train with and kind of create a game plan based on what you think they're going to do. And, you know, most guys are pretty habit-based. Like, this next guy's a boxer, so what he's going to do? He's going to try to punch me in the face. So it's pretty straightforward. It's just like my other guys, like Fernie Garcia. He was a boxer, wanted to punch me in the face, did not. He was a world champion kickboxer. He wanted to punch and kick me in the face. So, honestly, I feel like the game plan for most of these guys is, like, pretty similar, just because I've seen this guy before. You know, he's a little bit different, a little bit slicker, better timing. But I don't know. I feel like it's very similar.
Yeah, that's. I feel like you have to kind of be a jack of all trades. There's the guys who are specialists. They kind of play to their game plan no matter what. But so I don't know. That kind of shows me that you feel confident in all your skills.
For sure.
Cool, man. Well, I'll let you get going, but I appreciate this call. I'm definitely gonna reach out to the strength coach. I'd love to pick his brain as well. But yeah, that's I'm rooting for you, man. And I remember back when I reached out to your coach years ago for the memory stuff, I'd watch your tape and I was like, this dude is he's really got the base to put some stuff together. I mean, I'm just a fan. I'm not seeing everything that's going on, but just from an athletic standpoint, I was like, man, this guy is fun to watch. So I'm excited to watch you as a fan. And yeah, it'll be cool to see how it all plays out.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. It was good talking to you.
Easy, man.